to introduce to you the subject History of Interior Design. Well, you must all be wondering, why am I here to teach you history? But my dear friends, I must tell you that history of interior design is a very, very important subject if you are aiming or planning to become interior designers. As you all know, what does the interior designer do? Well, an interior designer, he needs to design spaces. He is the one who creates moods. He is the one who gets themes working. So this subject is actually going to introduce to you the various styles which were prevalent in the world right from the ancient times to the 21st century. Well, let me just briefly tell you what is that you're going to study while you do this subject. We will first have the ancient civilizations, and in that we are going to focus on the two river civilizations, that is the Egyptian civilization and the Chinese civilization. As you all know, Egyptian civilization has been a civilization which has been most widely studied all over the world. The civilization, in this civilization we are going to look at the architecture. How is it that they used to build their buildings? What is the material that they used to use? How is the furniture which was there? How did they do up the interiors in the ancient times in ancient Egypt? It's a very interesting civilization, like I said. So we'll go step by step. We'll understand why did they make the pyramids, because pyramids, as you all know, is one landmark of this civilization. I next take you to Chinese civilization, one of the ancient civilizations which was prevalent around the river Huanghe. We do the various types of architecture that are prevalent in Chinese civilization. Well, that would be the imperial architecture, that is the architecture of the palaces and tombs of the emperors. Then we have the Buddhist architecture, that is when Buddhism spread to China and how it influenced the architecture over a period of time. We have the Taoist architecture, and finally we go on to the architecture of the gardens. As we all keep talking about the landscape designing so much in fashion today, but you have to understand that the Chinese did it long time back, because in their architecture, designing your own gardens was very much a part of architecture. So we study that there, and then we look into the furniture that the Chinese made in the ancient times. With superb joinery skills and almost no glue or resins, they produced one of the finest furniture of the times. After the ancient civilizations, we come on to the classical civilization, and classical, or the word classy, as you all understand, stands for something which never dies out, and that is how the architecture of Greece and Italy, or you can say Rome, is. So the Greek architecture and the Roman architecture would be studied in classical architecture. Well, the Greeks gave us a lot. When we finish studying this particular topic, you would start relating it to today's time, and you would start saying, yes, this is the architecture that we are using today. So I need to take you back to that 6th century when the Greeks came up with these beautiful columns, the orders, the Doric order, the Ionic order, the Corinthian order, which are being used now. I would say they are being adapted now, not really as the structural part of the building, but being adapted as a decorative element in the building. And we would also see what is it, or how is it that they made the furniture. The Greeks came up for the first time with the most comfortable looking chair, the Klismos chair, which had a curved back. I'll take you through that also. And then of course, after the Greeks came the Romans, and the Romans basically adapted all the styles which the Greeks came out with. The Greeks are known for their beautiful proportionate structures, which were not really beautified by external decorative elements, but they looked beautiful and proportionate, and that is how we call them beautiful buildings. Soon after the classical civilization, we focus ourselves into 12th century in Europe. That is when Christianity is spreading, and that is the time which we say the Gothic architecture came in. Well, the word Gothic basically first of all was used as a negative description for a kind of architecture which was really not liked by people, because it kind of was very, very different from the classical architecture. Classical architecture was all about proportion, beautiful symmetry, horizontal emphasis on the horizontal line. But the Gothic architecture is totally different. It emphasizes on the vertical axis. But then, like I said, Gothic architecture came to us at the time when Christianity was spreading in Europe, and they wanted to promote this house of God. They wanted to make it so beautiful or so different that when somebody enters that place, he should feel as if he's entered a different place altogether. And that is exactly what Gothic architecture did. When we talk about Gothic architecture, we are actually talking about the architecture of the churches, the cathedrals, and the basilicas. The architecture did not really affect the normal houses, but the elements, yes, they were repeated in the furniture, so things changed. All that you see today, the beautiful stained glass that we see, is being given to us by the Gothic era. Well, after Gothic times, we sometimes call it the Middle Ages. That is the time when Christianity was spreading, and man was really not rationalizing things or reasoning out things, and that is why sometimes people call it the Dark Ages. But right after that comes the Renaissance. Renaissance, as the word means, it means the rebirth or the revival. And exactly, if I have to say what is the rebirth, then this is the rebirth or the revival of the classical architecture. So right after Gothic architecture comes the Renaissance period. This is about 15th century onwards. And this is the time when people started again studying the classical architecture, and then they studied the buildings and they realized how beautiful that architecture was, and they started adapting it. So Renaissance architecture is a logical time. It is also, if you see whether it is literature or art, when I talk about Shakespeare or I talk about Leonardo da Vinci, these are the people from this time. It's also called the golden era in human history. So that was Renaissance architecture, and I must mention at this point of time that Renaissance architecture actually was the supreme form of art at that period. So if you were an artist or a sculptor, then architecture was one means of showing your talent. And that is why when you look at the Renaissance time buildings, you will see that they are beautifully painted. The sculpture work is amazing, and that is what we are going to study in Renaissance architecture. We study the effect of Renaissance in Italy, in France, and finally in England. It takes a lot of time to travel to France, because France is the place where Gothic architecture had started. So the hold of Gothic architecture was quite a lot in France. So Renaissance comes almost about 100 years later to France. So we do that in Renaissance. It's going to be very interesting, let me tell you. And then we move on to the modern architecture. The beginning of 19th century, as we all know, saw the Industrial Revolution. And with Industrial Revolution, there were very kind of building materials which came out, like your iron, your glass, all those materials. With the new materials, the architects could think of different looking buildings. One of the sentences that the modern architects follow is that form should follow function. And what they actually mean is that they wanted to reject all kind of extra ornamentation that you do with a building. They wanted the building to just look simple and provide you the basic thing of the functionality. So for them, aesthetics was not really very important. It was the function which was important. And for modern architecture, we have various architects of that period. So this followed on till about 1950s, and in 1950, people did again a rethinking, and they thought it was too clean in architecture, too basic in architecture, and too boring in architecture. Because if you look at the buildings which are made as per modern architecture, Chandigarh being one of the examples, it was designed as per the rules of modern architecture. But then somewhere too much of functional aspect if you talk about, and you don't think about the aesthetic part, then it becomes boring. And that's when postmodernism comes, and that is what we follow now. So what we do today is we do look into the function first, and then we start talking about the aesthetics. But we also get elements from the older civilization which had beautiful things to give to us, and we create interiors, or you can say we create buildings. So that is your modernism and postmodernism. And finally, we come and focus on the architecture in India. Right from the ancient civilization time, when we had the Indus Valley civilization, how people lived at that time. Mind you, Indus Valley civilization, by looking at the ruins of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, we come to know that these people lived, they had a very good town planning. So all that is going to be covered up in Indus Valley civilization architecture. And then we study a little about Buddhist architecture, which was at the highest during the time of King Ashoka. And then, of course, finally the Mughal architecture, which is amazing, as you all know. The Mughals, as you know, came from the west, they came from the Persian area. So they are the ones who mixed the Islamic, the Persian and the Indian architecture together and gave us one of the most beautiful buildings of this world, Taj Mahal by Shah Jahan. And after we do with Mughal architecture, I am going to take you with what Akbar the Great gave us. What is it that Shah Jahan gave and Jahangir. So that is all. It's going to be interesting. I will also be telling you how we are to pick up the elements from each civilization and adapt it in interiors. So you must understand that if you are doing any interior and you've been asked to do of say particular theme, like for example I talk about Egyptian theme, say a VIP suite in a 5-star hotel, then what is it that you're going to put? So obviously you would be, if you have a little bit of knowledge about how the Egyptians lived, what is it that they used, you can pick up those elements and motifs and employ it as per your convenience in the new materials that are available now. Thank you.